Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for joining. I decided to redo the video because the internet is going a little faster now and I can get more done in less time. Just like last time, remember the most important thing is that we do SBA.gov. SBA.com has almost the same information on it, but it's run by a private organization and it is not government affiliated. So just be careful when you're doing the website. Don't just type in SBA. You want to make sure you put SBA.gov. On the SBA.gov website, there's a wealth of information. I mean, you can pretty much learn everything there is to know about a business here. If you go to launch your business, you'll see information about your business structure. That's important for everything that you do. Your business structure is going to determine the way you pay your taxes. It's going to determine your liabilities, everything. So you want to be very careful when you pick your business structure. Getting your federal and state ID numbers, that's important because depending on your type of business, you will need a federal tax ID to apply. You can use your social if you're like a sole proprietor, so don't worry about that if you don't have one. It's not necessary. But if you apply, you can do this online, so you get it immediately. Open a business bank account is very important because business credit is very important. Sometimes it can help to overshadow your own personal issues if you have business credit. So open up a bank account, get some credit, and pay it. That can sometimes offset your own issues. All right, so let's just jump into it. Right now, we are dealing with the coronavirus. This is the loan that we're dealing with. Had it been a tornado or a hurricane or whatever, it would probably be right here as well. So you don't have to worry about going through these trying to find out what you're looking for. Because if you're looking for a regular SBA loan, non-disaster related, this is not the way you do it. It's a different way. All right, just click learn more and it tells you about the information that you're going to be needing. What we are doing is we are going to be applying for economic injury disaster loan program. If you saw the video last week, right here, there was a listing of about 20 states or so that allowed their residents to apply for a disaster loan. Now the entire U.S. has the opportunity to apply. So you should know now more than ever that it is the time to apply. This money is not this money will run out, so it's important to apply as soon as you can with the right information. Of course, the loan is up to $2 million. Anything under 25,000 is unsecured. 25,000 and up will be a secure loan. Okay, so you just basically click there to apply. And as we're waiting, we do know that SBA loans are very good because it allows you to go through conventional banks. Conventional banks, and you're still able to get a loan because the SBA is backing you. Okay, so let me log out because it still has my old account on here because I want to show you how to actually register yourself. Okay, so when you click apply online, it's going to take you here. Remember, you want to make sure that you're in the eligible disaster area. So if it were a storm, a tornado, a flood, they would have a designated area. If you're in that area, you would be eligible. And remember, you have to have a physical business. It doesn't have to necessarily be a storefront, but your business has to be inside that disaster area. And I'm saying that because let's just say there was a flood in Florida. And my business is in Mississippi, but most of my members are in Florida. It doesn't work like that. I would not be eligible to apply for that particular loan because that disaster area would be Florida. So that's why they actually tell you that. Okay, so when you click register, it's going to take you to this page. It's just your personal information that you're entering. Your personal information, your primary address, and make sure you enter email. They're going to send you a lot of information via email. So just use this email address. Okay. Part 2 of 2 will be more just like picking your username and password. Okay, so once you log in, it's going to take you to this page. I have this because I have a bunch of applications just kind of walking people through it. So don't worry about that. What you'll see is eligible disaster areas and you'll see apply online. For a brand new application, you click apply online. If you already had an application and you submitted it and you just have to fix something, then you would come here. I actually have so many I can, I'll even show, there's some, they'll actually have like status. So you can see the status of your loan, but I can't, release information. These are not real people, so this doesn't matter. All right. Just click apply online. And I think another question I had was about new businesses. Now I did say that brand new, well, I didn't specify brand new businesses, but if you are a startup and you are brand new, there are startup loans by the SBA. But if you are a startup business that you have that already started, you are still eligible for this disaster. There's going to be a form that we get to on some of the applications that you can put that information in. So you'll put, I'm a new business, I've been in operation for 1 year, here's my, here is my income, and here's where my income has changed due to the disaster. So I didn't want to make anyone think that they couldn't apply. You can apply. You just will still have to send in tax papers for different years, but what's important is that the business is actually in operation. All right, so this screen is going to pop up, homeowners and renters, or businesses and nonprofits. You are going to click for this information, for this disaster, you're going to click businesses and nonprofits. The homeowners and renters is more for property damage. So if there was a flood and your home was damaged, or if there was a storm and the tree fell and knocked your home down or something like that, you would click homeowners. But for this particular injury, it's an economic injury, so it's no property damage involved. You're going to click businesses and nonprofits. Even if your business is inside of your home, you're still going to click businesses and nonprofits. Okay, so the next screen it comes to asks you about the assistance, the type of business, whatever type of business you have, you enter it here. And here it says, are you applying for? Click economic injury and only click economic injury. For some disasters, they allow you to do more things like real property and business, but for this particular one, it's only an economic injury. You select that. And then you press next so that you can start the application. And whatever you click here is going to determine what forms you have. So everyone won't have the same forms. There's a different form for sole proprietor as opposed to an LLC. So just make sure that you click the right ones because this will determine your form. That's why it's a good reason. That's a good reason to apply online, because you don't want to pick the wrong stuff doing paper and send in the wrong information. If you do it online, it's much easier. Just get someone to kind of help you or walk through it with you. You want to pick your state and your county. Remember, for this particular disaster, everything inside of America and its territories are included. But if it weren't, remember, you would only see, well, you would still see the state and the county, but whatever you click here is going to determine what's your next page, what you see on the next page. Select your county or your parish. We say parish in Louisiana. Goes back to our British rule. Once you select your state and your county, it will send you to the disasters that you currently have. Right now in this area, we have 2 disasters, the coronavirus and the New Orleans Hard Rock Hotel. So the businesses that are around that area and have been impacted, they do have the opportunity to apply for a disaster loan. But we are going to do the coronavirus disaster loan. Of course, now we are going to certify that we are telling the truth and that everything that we put is truthful. And the second one that's going to pop up is just going to be requirements that they have to give you to tell you about accepting the loan and different things that they can or cannot do. You do have the opportunity to print it out if you want to have it for your personal use. This is the second part that I was telling you about. Make sure you click. These are statements that are required by law. You can print it out if you like. This is the next screen that you're going to get, your filing requirements. Depending on what you put in this particular application will show what you have to do after this. For example, some of the loans that I applied, that I did, this did not show up, this personal financial statement. So it just depends on what you click in this particular here about your business structure that will determine the rest of this. So if you see this video or if you saw the other video, my application may have looked a little differently from yours. So I'm going to just go ahead and start the application so that you can see the basic. Everything else is going to be tailored specifically for you. Well, all of it is tailored specifically for you. It's just that I can do this one together with you. The rest is going to be your personal information. This is the actual application. This is called SBA Form 5. The first two are going to be already filled out for you because we clicked that in the first one. That's how we got to this particular application. If you do have a FEMA number, if it were a disaster where it was a natural disaster and your building was messed up, you would call FEMA. They would give you a FEMA number. You can put it here. It's important to for that, because a lot of times with FEMA disasters, if you are not eligible through SBA and you apply, sometimes they will refer you over to FEMA to get FEMA funding. And everybody, of course, knows that FEMA funding is a grant, so you do not have to pay it back. Unless, you get it illegally, but that's a different story. If you do everything correctly and you are not eligible for SBA loan, you will be sent over to FEMA for a grant. Right now, I don't think that they are doing that. I can't say that they will or that they won't, but right now it's just SBA. But it's good if you do have that information to put it there. So if this were for another disaster, you will go ahead and put your number there. You want to fill all this information out. Sorry. Okay, you want to put your tax identification number. It's 9 numbers. So if you have an EIN or a tax number, this is where you put it. If you were a sole proprietor, right here, well, it's not on this application. If you were a sole proprietor, you would have a different form and you would not have to enter your tax identification. But since we clicked LLC, we do have a tax ID. If you do not have a tax ID, you need to go to the irs.gov and apply for a tax ID. Super easy, and you'll get it immediately. So get your tax ID or EIN so that you can do your application. Your trade name could, would be your business name. You could put it there. Business phone number, you put your business phone number. Then you need to put your address. In your city, that's going to auto-populate. This is just your mailing address. You put it there. It's going to take a while to do that, but let's do the damaged property. Remember, they ask you for a damaged property, even though you may not have an actual storefront. They want this damaged property because they want to make sure that you are actually in the area where the disaster happened. For the coronavirus, it's all over the U.S., but if it was just a storm, it would be different. If you noticed, I changed the information a little bit because I didn't want to have to type all that information in. But remember, this is all going to be based on what you put here, which form you get. I believe we stopped on the address. You put the address here. If you had dwelling insurance, this is where you would put it. So if this was a disaster where property damage was involved, this would be where you will put your insurance information if you had any. They also have business interruption insurance that you can also put. This is the people that they can contact, the name of the business, not the name of the business, when the business started. If you look under that, it says amount of estimated loss. It's gray, so you can't fill it in, but you will be asked on a separate sheet about how much money you think that you lost. This is where you will put it. Not here, but on that next form that they ask you about. When you get to page 2, they're going to ask you if it's an individual owner or a business entity owner. This is important. Are you an individual owner or do you use the business entity owner? Depending on which one you use, you will enter it here, okay? So for this one that I was doing, I put no individual owner and I put the business. This is the legal name. This is the information. These questions ask you like, have you ever had bankruptcy, outstanding judgments? Do you owe any money? All my answers are no. However, if you have a yes for any of these answers, pay attention to this number and this letter because there's going to be space on the next page for you to answer. So something that's important is they ask you if you are delinquent on any federal taxes, federal loans, federal contracts, federal grants, or any child support payments. This is important because we have some people that may owe SBA loans, previous SBA loans, or student loans, or anything like that. That's where this information is. So if you remember before you do this application, if you have any of those loans, please try to satisfy it. And I'm not saying necessarily pay it, but call and set up a payment plan so that it won't show up, because student loans is included in this. Not saying that you should not apply, still apply and let them tell you that you're declined. So don't let this stop you, but they do ask you about it. I'm just letting you know because this is asked about. Something else that's important is called a physical damage loans only. So if this is let's say this was a flood and I was filling out this application, I want to check this box because checking this box makes you eligible for additional funding. So it's basically mitigation money. So this will be where some people got that extra mitigation money from FEMA to make their homes wind safe or flood safe or whatever. They raise their homes and all that. That's where this money, that's where this money came from. So that's where you will put. If somebody is doing the application for you, like you're going through a company and they're charging you, this is where you put that information. By it being an SBA loan, there are no fees. All fees are waived. So they want to make sure that somebody can, do it for you and charge you, but SBA itself is not charging you. So that's why they want to keep up with how much people are charging others for this service. This is where you enter the information. Like if you had yes for child support or one of those questions that had yes or no, this is where you would enter that information. You put the number, the item number, and then the title, and then answer your question because you may be able to explain something. You can tell them you have documentation or whatever it is that you need to answer that particular question. This is where you would answer it. Okay, so after you finish the first question, the first application, the second one that should pop up for some people, depending on what you put, will be the Form 413. That's a personal financial statement. For this particular application that I'm doing, it's not popping up because I don't need it. But your personal financial statement will say how much money you make per year, how much your assets are. So if you have any stock and bonds, if you own any real estate, stuff like that. That's your personal financial statement. Because remember, what's important is that you have the money, you lost the money, and that you can pay back the money. So your personal financial statement will pop up here if it's necessary. All right, schedule of liabilities, that would be how much money you owe. So if you click on it, it'll tell you I have a loan. Well, you can click your own information. I have a loan from this and I owe that, blah, blah, blah. This form is important, so I'm actually going to click on it. It's called the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Supporting Information. It's a P-O-19 form. That is important because that's going to help that's going to help all businesses, but it's going to give more clarification to newer businesses because they are letting you know that all you have to do is answer these questions and submit your documents so that you can also be eligible for the loan. So not necessarily saying that you're a new business, you can't get the money. You can still get the money. Just show that you've made money and that you've lost money and that you can pay it back and you are eligible. I believe this form asks for a year, the money that you've made in the last year. So that's what that is. There are, however, several loans, I want to just say it again, for small businesses that are just starting out. So if you have a business and you hadn't really made any money yet, you just want to get a regular loan, you can get that as well on the SBA website. So this is the form, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Support and Fund Information. They want to make sure that your business is in operation 1 year prior to the disaster. Here's where you put the information. So it says for expedited loan application processing, the business must have been operating for at least 1 year prior to the disaster. Eligibility for the disaster loan must consider compensation from other sources to offset the economic injury. Other sources include but are not limited to blah and blah. All right, so this is where you want to put your information right here. Just apply. Don't let anyone tell you not to apply. Just go ahead and apply. Even if you like you said, you've been in business for a year, click yes, and you can put the rest of the information. You could actually fill it out here and do it, or you can print it and send off your application. All right, so just to go back to this, you can upload it here, or if you are unable to, you can look at the different document delivery options, which is usually to mail it or to go ahead and drop it off at one of the SBA satellite sites. You can find that out if they have any. You can find it out online. Okay, so this is disaster assistance. Whatever information you have, you're gonna complete it here. This is the request for a transcript. They want to see your taxes, your personal taxes, and the company. So you see both of them are there. They want to see your taxes, and it'll tell you what year. So you'll see once you click update, it'll tell you start for you. They'll say start. It'll tell you they want 2016, 17, and 2018. You just go ahead and give them the permission so that they can see your taxes. You also have to send your most recent taxes. So if you did the next year, so if you did 2019, you would also send that. The truthful information certificate, you're gonna do that as well. Mine is already done. So these are basically, it's not as hard as it seems. Just make sure you have your documents. So it says complete copy includes all schedules of the most recent federal taxes. And that's for anybody owing 20% or more. So if you have more than one business owner, they need to all do this. If the most recent federal income tax has not been filed, a year-end profit and a loss statement, and a balance sheet for the tax year. So if you didn't do your taxes yet, you still need to send in how much money you have with your year-end profit statement. I can't say this enough. They want to see that you had money, you lost money, and that you can pay it back. I know a SBA loan, they are guaranteeing this money, not guaranteeing the money to you, but they are guaranteeing the money to the bank. So they go through conventional banks. You borrow the money from that conventional bank, let's say Chase, for example. You borrow the money from Chase, and let's say something happens and you default on the loan, SBA will back it up and pay it for you. So that's what the SBA comes in as. So if you see something about guaranteed, it's not guaranteed that you get the money. It's guaranteed that the money will be paid to the bank. That's not taking you away. You still have to pay. So you don't want to default, because if you default on them, then SBA pays, and then you default to SBA. So you really don't want that, especially with all the disasters and stuff that we have going on. You won't be eligible for anything. So again, if you have any questions, please remember to put it down, and I'll try to answer as best as I can. But take advantage of this website. SBA has so much stuff going on. They even have even your state's website. Your state's website have a lot of information, and they have counselors that will help you at no charge. So it's important to take advantage of all these benefits. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.